Welcome to Chat With Me on the Side. Today we have a fabulous episode for you. We have my dear friend, Lyla is with us today.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. I love it. I think people are going to learn so much from you.
Thank you.
And Lyla has joined us because she has bipolar disorder. And you wanted to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some of the other things you do. So could you tell us a little bit how that's been for you?
Well, I was diagnosed when I was about 14. My dad was a psychiatrist.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they caught it right away, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. But I was diagnosed very quickly, put on meds very quickly. And things were pretty good and stable up until about in college, where I decided to go off my meds.
Oh.
Well, it sounded like a really good idea.
It does, and that's what it does, especially at that age, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly.
want to be independent, you want to do your own thing, you don't.
Oh yeah. And you know, I had some experiences, and I'll share one of the stories from my most recent book that's coming out.
That's what she's an author.
And I had some experiences that really kind of made me think, oh, I don't need meds, you know. And I don't knock those experiences at all. And you know, it's debatable depending on who you talk to as to, you know, what really happened there, you know. Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about that. So when I was in college, it was evening, probably 9 o'clock at night, and I went down to see my boyfriend. I went into his room, and I think he was on his computer or something. And I sat on his bed, and I think I was looking at remember Kurt Cobain. It was like when Nirvana was really big. That now you know how old I am. And I'm looking at it, and he's talking, and he's telling me something. I don't remember what he said, but something happened, and it was like a switch. And all of a sudden, everything got like cool and calm. And all that chatter that we have in our head, and you know, we all have it. It's that the ongoing
depends on how loud your voice is and what it's telling you at the time.
Right, exactly. That dialogue is there, right? It was gone completely. And so there was just a silence. And it was kind of like you guys have an air conditioner. You turn the air conditioner off before we filmed, right? It was the same kind of feeling. It was like, shh.
Wow.
And it was beautiful, but it was terrifying because honestly, I mean, I thought I had died. Like I thought I had died.
You had been living with those voices for
right.
so long.
Because a part of me did die that day because all that ego mind had just disappeared. And then I was left with this kind of crystal clarity. And as it turned out, my boyfriend was like, he had done a lot of psychedelics. He had gone to India, and he had studied in an ashram. So he got this thing. So when I was crying at this point because I didn't know what was going on.
What was happening?
And so he kind of ushered me through it and kind of showed me what it was, at least from his perspective.
Okay.
And so after that night, things were, can you imagine not having that voice? I was liberated. I'm telling you, I was liberated. But what happened afterwards, kind of the after effects of it were not so good because you can have these kind of, I consider a divine experience like that, a connected experience, but then you still got to live in the real world.
That's right. And where do you go from there?
And where do you go? And it's not like at my college there was like, you know, some professor who specialized in enlightening experiences or whatever. There was nobody could talk to me about it except this guy, you know, who was my new boyfriend, you know. So in that kind of bliss, I decided, well, I don't need my medicine, obviously. So I went off the medicine, and that was fine, and that actually heightened the whole experience.
Right.
The awakening was very intense. However, like, well, why do I even need to be in college? Why do I need any of this? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
What happens? So everything shifts, and all of a sudden I'm detached from this stuff, you know. Why do I have to worry about money? I can spend money on anything because it doesn't matter. It's immaterial, right? And over probably the course of a year, the crash came. And everything just kind of shattered. I ended up trying to kill myself. But it was actually a good thing. I put myself in a hospital for 3 days and got on a road to recovery. And so ever since that event, ever since that event, I've had to do this thing where I've had to kind of learn to balance, because I'll tell you, once you break through that like that and you have that experience, you want it. That's all you want. Now, some people could have called that manic. I mean, I've read enough stuff that that's not a disorder. That's, you know, so I have to learn in my life now how to surf that and how to live between those. And as someone with bipolar disorder, that's the trick, is finding that up and then not going so up. And then
you fall straight down.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah.
And how have you found that balance?
Meditation. When I started meditating, it started with hypnosis. I did hypnosis, and then I moved to meditation. Now I don't do the sitting meditation. I think a lot of people don't understand that, and that's something that I would like to, as a message, because I have a lot of people tell me, "Oh, you're so good, you meditate," and I'm like, it's not just about, you know, being so good. It's like, it's about like, well, survival for me.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you have to sit and stare at a wall, you know, or sit, you know, meditation is like, now I don't even do that anymore. I do walking meditation where I get out, and I live near the beach, so I walk barefoot to the beach, and I walk barefoot back. Exactly. And there's a process that we use, and I know a lot of people talk about it, and there's apps that do it, but they talk about the idea of letting thoughts pass through you, kind of letting them come and then they go. And not attaching to anything, but also not pushing anything away. Okay. So the trick is to not hold on to the thoughts like this. You know, it's like I talk about the monkeys, it's the monkey mind. Is to not like hold on like with a monkey claw, you know, hold on to these thoughts. And well, this is important. No, when you're meditating, nothing is important. I mean, the only thing that's important is nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
And so for me, I meditate like whenever I need it. Like I can meditate when I'm driving, and all it is let the thought come in, and then you just kind of let it go. You just, whatever it is, and things feel very important sometimes. Oh my gosh, there's the things that feel very important. And I'm teaching myself, I'm not a master at it, but that when things get hard, I just kind of push them to the side.
Okay.
And that is it. That's it. That's the only way to keep myself in there, is to, you know, when I start getting really down in the just mucky monkeys shouting at me, I just start to breathe and I let it pass.
I love it, and I love that you're clear that it's important on both ends.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because you really can't have the height without the fall, and you can't have the fall without the height. Right. So it's like, as long as you're balancing on both ends, right? Because who doesn't love to be high on life, right?
Right.
But you can't let it get to that point, because then you know that crash is coming. So that balance, and I think balance is the key in all of life. Yes, honestly,
absolutely.
With everything in moderation, everything, you know, finding that balance.
Yeah.
So I think that's beautiful that you're able to relate that to being with the bipolar disorder.
Yeah, and I think nature just naturally moves in a curve. This is so it's not about, oh, I have this bipolar disorder. I just kind of have the good fortune, I guess, of seeing it because when I'm high, like I can walk out on the beach and and I know a lot of people can do this. For me, I can slip in like that into this really euphoric, and it makes me a great writer. It's a wonderful thing, but you can't be there all the time. You can't. And so for me, I think most people I talk to are depressed. I have a lot of people who have come to me and say, you know, how do I find joy? Like, how do I find happiness? And it's not so much finding happy, like, you know, it's finding that sweet spot. It's like the surfer.
You're right. We all have that ebb and flow. We all have those up and downs, bipolar or not. We all have it. So I think this is great for everyone, no matter what state you're in. So you mentioned you're a writer. So how do you incorporate this into your writing?
Well, the book that I'm working on right now is actually all about this. So it's. I'm
so excited. I'm like, where can we find?
So this is okay. So the tentative book title right now is called "Never Mind the Monkeys: Adventures of a Foul-Mouthed Yogini."
Nice.
So, which is anybody who knows me. No word is off limits, and no topic is off limits. So as I'm writing this, when I talk about yogini, like, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff that, you know, a lot of people who are studying, not necessarily yoga, position yoga, but yoga of the mind and heart.
Balance.
Right, exactly. But I do it in such a way that I'm a little like irreverent. Like I think most people aren't going to be talking.
So you're going to read us an excerpt?
I'm going to read you guys a little bit.
Yes, all right.
Okay. From the center of my chest, I do want to say that this is a scene where I first tried hypnosis. A friend of mine hypnotized me. I had no idea what to expect, and this is what happened.
Okay.
From the center of my chest, I felt an ache, a dull pain, and it occurred to me that I might be having a heart attack. But in my calm state, I simply observed it and watched as my heart space seemed to open up, not with danger, but with a feeling of wonder and joy. Light poured from me. Like liquid gold, my whole chest opened up with love. I felt completely safe and absolutely embraced. I was bathed in golden joy. Still conscious of Sue's dialogue, I used her voice as a point of grounding. Slowly, Sue counted up to 10 and returned us both to the room, to the big cushy chair, to her big chart of the subconscious and conscious minds, and her long, gangly houseplant. I opened my eyes. There was my guide, as she'd always been, sunk deep into her corresponding chair. The world was still. It was as if I had gone everywhere, but nowhere at all. How was it, Sue asked, unaware of the personal journey I had taken. I just smiled, dressed in a warm glow. Good. Really good. Little did I know I had just tapped into a part of myself, or dare I say, a part beyond myself, that would change the course of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I cannot wait for you to finish this book. Get on it, girl. We got to go so she can start writing. But thank you for sharing your story. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your challenges. And thank you for sharing this awesome book that I can't wait to read.
All right, cool. All right,
Thanks for being here. And thank you guys for watching. As always, take care of yourselves and don't forget to take care of each other.